JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 4th of August 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at yesterday just to see how everything is kind of playing along. But yep, before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, the usual quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yeah, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click excuse me, and click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So yep, now then, let's quickly have a look at what's happening here globally in terms of the coronavirus. Now this is a little bit lagging as always, but hey, basically, long story short, the cases continue to decline, so that's a good thing, certainly. So of course, let's see if they can continue doing that. But hopefully these two, if we apply technical analysis on this chart, I hope this has been a nice double top here formation, and we have, if so, then we have broken the neckline. So again, of course we cannot do that, but hopefully the only thing we can do right now is to keep on monitoring. But and the most important, guys, stay safe. So jumping into the charts, now the first one I want to touch on here is Nikkei, and I talked about this index yesterday. What I was saying that in a way, given that we had a nice rebound reversal here from this 200-day EMA, yesterday the index traveled higher but kind of failed to stay above this 22,285 zone. Right here, and what I was saying, if we get a nice push above it, then yep, higher levels could be met. Now this morning, not only that we had a nice push above it, we had a nice opening gap here to the upside, and which automatically kind of raised the price above this barrier, and also as you can see, the index continued to drift higher and pushed above the 21-day EMA, which could be seen as a positive. However, what I was also saying yesterday, that in a way, if it continues to push a little bit further north here, yes, it could be great news for the buyers. However, it could get a hold up near this short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 10th of June. So in other words, in order to aim for some higher levels, or to get a little bit more comfortable with larger extensions to the upside, we would need to wait for a break above this level right here. This, first of all, this downside line, and then a push above the highest point of July near the 22,965 zone, and this way such a move would confirm a forthcoming higher high and more buyers could be joining in. So for now, yes, we will aim for some higher levels, but we will be very careful near this downside line. Jumping into Shanghai Composite, now this one continues to move higher nicely as well. So this is what I was saying when I was covering Shanghai Composite, guys, that basically what I was saying, that that was last week, that we were forming a potential kind of descending triangle pattern, which, as you know, these patterns tend to break to the downside. However, what I was saying, that in order to get comfortable with lower levels, we would wait for a drop below this key support zone, because as you can see, the index kind of broke this downside line, the upper side of the triangle. Also, it pushed above the 3,336 territory that I talked about before, closed above it, and this is the kind of the result that we're having right now. It continues to move higher. We still have around 10 minutes left of trading here in Shanghai Composite, so basically it will be quite interesting to see where it's going to end, but most likely in the positive territory. Overall, for now, what we're aiming here for is this the highest point of July near the 3,457 mark, and then we will take it from there. So we don't want to kind of drive this one further north. Of course, it will be quite interesting to see if this could push further north, but the main target for now is the highest point of July near the 3,457 mark. Also keep your eyes on the potential, maybe if we get closer to this level, keep your eyes on a potential overshoot. So basically it could give an impression that it wants to move further north, but if it, for example, closed the daily candle below it still, then, well, I mean, this is where maybe a range could kick in here, but again, it's too early to talk about a range here. For now, let's see how the index will behave near the highest point of July, if it travels there. For now, everything's kind of leading towards that, but again, anything can change in these market conditions right now. Now jumping into German DAX, now the index closed nicely, just bang on this line. I talked about this one yesterday. It even closed slightly above it, I would say. So in other words, kind of this creates this slightly more positive atmosphere, and this is what I was talking about last week, guys, that although we have been seeing this move lower, if this starts pushing back above this downside line, and let's say also climbs above the 21-day EMA, or even better, closes daily candle above the 21-day EMA here, then yes, higher levels could be met. Also, especially if it pushes above this 12,773 level that I've mentioned yesterday. Previously it acted as a very nice area of support. Now it can be seen as a good resistance, but if that, like I said, if that gets violated and we see a nice daily close above it, then yep, in a way we could start looking at some higher levels again. To keep in mind that right now, for example, the cash index is currently balancing at around 12,660 territory, maybe fractionally above that. So basically we will get a small opening gap here to the upside, very minor, but we will still remain below this 21-day EMA. So that's why be very careful today. Keep your eyes on it, and yep, let's see how all this is going to play out. But for now, well, I'm going to say that I'm a little bit more bullish than bearish on this one. However, some confirmation breaks are needed. So probably I'll wait until we get a nice push at least above the 12,773 territory in order to consider a possibility of this index, for this index to move kind of higher. Now, I'm talking about another index, and this one is a dollar index, and I talked about this one yesterday as well. And look at this. So this barrier here, the 93.81 zone, failed to, or should I say, the index failed to close above it. So we did push initially higher. However, as you can see, by the end of the day, it kind of started kind of drifting back down. Now, this is what I was saying, that if we get a daily close above this area, then yes, this is when we will start looking at some higher levels again, or should I say, aiming for a bit of a larger correction. We didn't get that close. For now, of course, don't get me wrong, not all is lost here for the bulls. We could still see a push maybe today, but if today also this barrier continues to provide decent resistance, then yep, there could be maybe a bit of some worry signs for the bulls here. But again, let's say, like I said, not all is lost still. Let's see if we can actually eventually get that daily close above this area. By the way, this 93.81 zone, just let me refresh your memory, that's the lowest point of September 2018. So yep, for now I'm keeping an eye on that one. If we get that daily close above it, then the next target is the lowest point of March of this year, near the 94.65 and slightly 65, and slightly above it we do have the 21-day EMA, which also could provide a bit of resistance. But again, that's all in the scenario if we get a push above this 93.81 zone. If we don't, then, well, I mean, there could be maybe another slide here, but again, I'm going to pick up on this one, guys, later on and see how all this is going to play out. Now, jumping into gold, and this is where the kind of slight reflection of the DXY is, where it is right now. So gold, initially yesterday it created a new all-time high near the 1988 territory, then drifted back down because the DXY was strengthening. However, at the end of the trading session yesterday, DXY weakened, and you can see that gold kind of traveled back up. Here today, gold is kind of stuck near yesterday's levels, yesterday's open and closing levels. So in other words, if we would like to aim for some higher levels, and if we would like to consider some higher levels, then yes, a push above the yesterday's high, the all-time high near the 1988 zone would be required, because such a move would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and of course then the main focus will fall on that psychological 22,000 that everybody is waiting for. In case this doesn't go for that high, for the new high, and instead falls back below the somewhere below the 1940 zone, marked near the low of the 30th of July, then we could maybe consider a bit of a larger correction to the downside. Jumping into Ripple, this one, of course, yesterday had a good run. And basically, it kind of almost made its way towards Sunday's high. And let me just recycle one of these lines here. So basically, Ripple made its way towards the 0.3262 territory, which is the highest, or should I say the highest point of this month so far. That was reached on Sunday here, and yesterday, yep, it kind of failed to reach that level, and today we're seeing a bit of a kind of a small little correction. However, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that the game is over here for the bulls. They could continue lifting this one higher. Of course, the next little target here is the highest point of February of this year. And by the way, I think that's the highest point. Yes, that is the highest point of this year, basically, so far, of course. The 0.3464 mark. Keep your eyes on that one. If we get a push above the current highest point of August near the 0.3262, aim for the 0.3464 mark, which is, like I said, currently the highest point of this year. Now, in case this pair suddenly starts, let's say, dropping lower and falls somewhere below this little territory right here, the 0.2858 mark. Now, this is where we could maybe aim for a bit of a larger correction. And if we let me just recycle all of these lines, guys. I mean, instead of kind of painting new ones. So basically, this is the little upside support line that we should keep in mind. Of course, don't get me wrong, it's a very tentative one. However, like I said, we'll keep an eye on it, and if we get a drop back below the 0.2858 territory, then this kind of increases the chances of a possible move lower, at least towards this upside support line, maybe. So yeah, guys, of course, one of the levels to watch out for is the highest point of April, near the 0.2357, but then, yep, like I said, we'll pick up on that. But again, we need to see that drop below the 0.2858 level first before, let's say, considering a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. For now, it's kind of staying here in this where it is right now. I mean, but in order to aim for some higher levels, as I said, a push above the 0.3262 level would be required. Just because, given that it already had a decent steep kind of uprise here, so maybe just we could see a bit of a correction here at some point. But again, for now, it's too early. We need a break through one of these levels. US dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, this is what I talked about yesterday, and the pair did well, initially, let's put it this way, on Friday the pair did rebound nicely from this 0.9073 territory. I talked about that one. That was the lowest point of May 2015. What I was also saying that if this pair somehow manages to get back above the 0.9184 level, which is marked by the lowest point of March, that could lead to a bit of a larger correction to the upside. However, as you can see, we did get a push above it. It seemed everything fine, that the bulls might be in control here. However, the bears quickly took the steering wheel and drove this one back below this area, back below this March low, and close the candle here. So today we're seeing we saw already an attempt to push above it. However, the bears again are keeping the rate below this barrier. So if we get another push above this area, then just maybe this could be enough for more bulls to jump in and drive this one higher. However, again, this move higher could still be seen as a temporary correction, because we are trading below a bunch of downside lines here, all of which are tentative. I do understand that, but just in case, we're keeping those on the chart for now. Now jumping into GBPUSD, also at a very tricky spot. However, everything's kind of working out according to the idea that I mentioned yesterday, that if this barrier here, the inside swing low of the 9th of March, continues to provide support. This one is, by the way, near the 1.30 to 35 zone. If it continues to provide support, we could see a nice rebound and a push higher. As you can see, we did get a drop. We did get a false breakout, but still the rate ended up being above this area. So in a way, all this is kind of creating this slightly more bullish atmosphere. However, don't get me wrong, for now, what I'm going to do here is just going to continue monitoring. If I'll start seeing some signs here of this one pushing higher, I'll keep an eye on this 1.32 zone here, marked by the highest point of March of this year. But if that gets broken, of course, this is where it could open the door to slightly higher levels. On the other hand, if it falls back below the 1.30-35 territory, then maybe we could see a bit of a larger correction here to the downside towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 30th of June. Now, another interesting pair that you probably don't look at very often, that I wanted to pick up on, that's euro dollar against the South African rand. Now, I like to kind of see different opportunities in different various exotic pairs as well. So for example, yesterday I showed you the euro Turkish lira, which is kind of correcting a little bit, what has been correcting a little bit lower. Here it's a little bit of a different story. Of course, the pair did have a nice rally here in April. It reached this key resistance level near the 20.916 barrier, and then kind of corrected lower, but found support near the 18.576 zone, approximately around there. Then the pair started moving higher again. It managed to break this key resistance level, which is the highest point of June, near the 19.687 mark. It overshot this, so yep, this confirmed the forthcoming higher high, and now it seems that the pair is willing to push further north. But don't get me wrong, at some point we will get that little correction here to the downside. One of the upside lines that you could keep an eye on for now, no, don't get me wrong, it's a bit of a tentative one, but nevertheless, one of the upside lines to keep in mind is this one here, taken from the low of the 22nd of July. So in a way, even if, let's say, for example, if the pair struggles to move to this barrier here, to the highest point, the current highest point of this year, and let me just double check if this is actually the all-time high as well. So let's jump into a monthly chart. So far as data goes here, it seems that, oh, actually, yes, it is. Yeah, well, as much as data as we have, it seems that it's like an all-time high here. So basically, it would be quite interesting to see if this pair would create a new all-time high, but for that it needs to at least overcome this previous this current all-time high at 20.916. But even before that, we need to get to that level. So so for now, of course, everything's looking quite positive. It could drift towards that area, but of course we're keeping in mind the possibility of maybe seeing a bit of a correction here to the downside. However, if this upside line does provide support, then yep, we could see that push higher a little bit earlier. If the pair starts breaking this upside line and falls below the 19.687 territory, now this is where it could become a little bit more ugly for the buyers, and as this could increase the chances of a possible kind of decline. So something for you guys to keep in mind. Yeah, for now, like I said, it's quite interesting. For now, of course, I'm more bullish than bearish on this one. At some point, like I said, there could be a bit of a correction here, but I'll keep an eye on this upside support line drawn from the low of the 22nd of July, and if it continues to provide support, then a nice rebound here could lead to the to this all-time high near the 20.916, or even maybe creating a new all-time high for this one. And finally, EURUSD. So something as well that I talked about yesterday, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.1725 zone, which, as you can see, also acted as a good area of support, or should I say, let me rephrase that actually. The pair yesterday failed to close the daily candle below it, so it did we did get a false breakout here. But what I was saying, that if this area does continue to provide support, and this one is, by the way, marked by the inside swing low here of the 24th of September of 2018, if this area continues to provide support, then we could see a nice rebound and a push back to the upside. For now, everything's kind of happening like that, so let's see if it can continue staying like this. But yeah, if you want to be a little bit on the cautious side, you could keep an eye on the 1.1815 mark, which is the highest point of September 2018. A nice good push above it may open the door towards some higher levels. So yep, guys, for now, keep your eyes on that one. Let's see how all this is going to play out. Yeah, for now, these are the two levels that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. A nice good drop below this 1.1725 territory may open the door towards a bit of a larger correction here to the downside, maybe even towards this upside support line drawn from the low of the 14th of May. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. If you want to catch my video later on, my traders tea time is always 13:15 GMT. For now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.